Good morning. This is Chris from Broken Nib RC. Um, I did a thing yesterday. I had this guy delivered. It is a Trailfinder 2. Um, RC four-wheel drive just released their uh, uh, basically a kit. That long wheelbase Toyota, the FJ55, which has its ups and its downfalls, mostly downfalls. And I was thinking, I haven't had a leaf sprung truck since the Sawback I bought almost 10 years ago, and that was a great little truck. I got rid of the goofy had this goofy Jeep-ish, Jeep-esque body on it that I just gave to a friend of mine, and he actually hacked on it, and it looked great after he worked on it. But as far as leaf spring stuff, it was a great little truck. Put traction bars on it. A lot of the stuff was homemade. I had a very rare now Toyota Land Cruiser body that I redid the grill. I just put a piece of styrene on the front so it looked more like a Toyota, and put that on there, and it fit perfectly. It ran. Thing had plastic gears, but it was a stout little truck. And let me tell you something. It's cool to have like that's the XCX 10 I originally had an XCX 10 that I got in 2007, and I hacked on it, and I got into the big comp stuff out here in Northern California, and it was known as the Blue Bastard, and it was originally a Proline 50 something Ford. I did a bunch of weird stuff to it, and the thing weighed like 14 pounds. I loved it. And the main trick was try to get as much performance out of it as possible, which is great. And then I got the 10.3 that came out, and I never had a truck with portal axles, so that was kind of a big thing for me. And that's been a pretty good truck, I have to admit. Not bad for out of the box. The 10.2 I actually ran for like 2 years at a bunch of like Axial Fest events and that. Never touched it, never put a dime into it, and it ran perfectly. And then I finally put some axles in it, and transmission and everything else. I'll do a video on that. And then of course the VS410, which I got, which is like, it's kind of like, if you do this for any kind of amount of time, you kind of have to. It's just like the Cadillac of, it's the creme de la creme kind of crawlers. It goes together great, drives awesome. Um, it's really something. Well, the bodies that came with them are pretty nice. I kind of like them as they are, and I went ahead and put light kits in them and the whole 9 yards, and they run great. Thing is, they're basically the same suspension. And when you get to leaf springs are a whole other deal. And the nice thing about it is, what's kind of fun, what I like about the hobby is that you're trying to make something. You're trying to put a tuxedo on a pig, basically. Leaf springs have their whole kinds of different problems and stuff, and I think everything's got to be lightweight nowadays for some reason. And I like really heavy rigs because you get predictive performance out of it. Trick is to put the weight down low, so you're not real top heavy. So yeah, it's nice to have a like a styrene body that you can, it's like a blank canvas that you can do whatever you want with, and that's the kind of the thought behind it. And I always meant to get one of these and never did. RC four wheel drive kind of has their own weird set of problems. They always have. I don't know why. Um, so this Iron Pig came out, and a lot of guys don't know what an Iron Pig is. They weren't that, I mean, I grew up in the 80s, so I remember Iron Pigs. They weren't around, and there wasn't a ton of them around, but they were pretty awesome. And they had their own, it was an Iron Pig. You didn't see a lot of them, you didn't see them trailing the Rubicon or anything. Like a big old, not even a Blazer, like a big old Suburban. Basically, it's a Toyota Suburban, basically. Um, and I was kind of shocked at Matt from Scale Builders Guild does a great review on it, honestly, and he is definitely um, has bought a lot of RC four-wheel drive stuff in the past, and he pointed out a lot of really basic issues with the body, and it's too bad because it's I think it's a fun platform, and they to me they look good with a two-tone, nice paint job, and there's like 50 parts to put on the body. The body actually looks pretty good, but on a leaf sprung rig, it's kind of crazy because you don't, the more weight the better, basically. So, um, yeah. Anyway, I like the platform and everything else. I thought, it's about time I need to get into it again. And the long wheelbase sells as a basic kit for under 400, which nowadays is kind of a good thing, I guess. I guess it's a good price. Um, and okay, but the bodies, the RC four wheel drive bodies are like $200, up to $200. So yeah, and there's not a lot of not a lot of options for long wheelbase trucks unless you're really into Toyotas. Um, I happen to be into Toyotas. In real life, I had a '79 for a while, and then sold that and got a Chevy and blah blah blah, and I ended up with a '93, and then the one I'm driving now is a 2004 Tacoma, first gen. So I've got a real I like Toyotas. So this isn't a big deal, but I don't really like the grill that much. But anyway, as I'm saying, there's a couple. You're better off with a regular wheelbase, and this came in at 376, including shipping. It's out of Maine. I'm in California, so shipping is not a huge issue. It's not even 10 pounds, so it's not. If you're in the continental U.S., it's probably not that big of a deal. I don't know. The only thing is, it's not as popular. This is the TF2, not the TF3, which TF3 seems to have a lot of weird things going on with it. I don't know. No, it doesn't smell right to me. So I'm definitely not going that route. But anyway, Trailfinder 2. It's got the frame's interesting. Frame is. I was kind of surprised last night when I opened it up. It's machined out of a solid piece of aluminum, which I thought, oh, okay, it's not C-channel, which I'm kind of used to C-channel. I don't know if it'll be any tougher or not. Whatever. Although we're not really throwing a big power plant into this thing. I'm just going to run brushed with a 1080. This one came with the 2-speed gearbox, even though I think it says in the box it's a one single speed, but it's obviously got a second gear in it. Anyway, so I'm probably going to be running, steering servo in this. I've got some Holmes servos that I can run at 7.4 volts, and I got plenty of torque for this thing, for those size tires. So this thing ought to be fine. I'm going to crack it open just to make sure it's got some oil in it. Same thing with the transfer case. I see these really pretty smooth out of the box, which I'm glad. I don't want to rag on RC four-wheel drive, but they kind of have a history. I don't know if it's the contractors they work with or what. Some of the specs can get a little weird. I bought bumpers from them, and you could tell that when they threw the rails in the jig to tack weld it, it wasn't straight, and nobody cared. You'd get stuff that was just, you had to hammer on it for half an hour just to get it to fit. And I'm talking like a SCX 10, just to make it fit in between the rails. Took a vise and a hammer, and you had to really wail on it. Yeah. So I've also heard nightmares about these axles, but I think these are the Toyota or the Yoda 2 axles. These aren't the Yoda 1s. So I think a lot of those issues have mostly been resolved. Of course, these are cast. These aren't machined. So yeah, we're probably going to open those up and check them out. But they seem really smooth. I think they'll be fine. I don't think it'd be a problem. This is one of those axles that I lusted after, but you couldn't afford them at the time. And yeah. So anyway, Tires are these guys. I've seen these before. It's pretty good compound in them. 155s. Yeah, they should work out just fine. And then the wheels are the standard. The good old stamped. They've have these for years. These are like bread and butter. These used to get these in 1.9 just really cheap. You get a whole set for $25, a set of 4, and they're stamped. They're stamped steel, and then they sell the thing to do. You get the blank ones, and then the unpainted ones, and then you let them rust for a while, or accelerate the rust, and you get a little more scale out of it. Yeah, pretty much. I'm gonna check the hardware. Their hardware's never been the greatest. They tend to strip, and yeah, that kind of thing. But little. That's all little stuff. But really, it's not that big of a deal. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this build. I really want to get. I kind of want to put a blazer on this thing. There's a blazer body that they make that'll fit this. That's about 100.5. The Forerunner I really like. I do a Forerunner, but that's $100. That's $200. That's $170, I guess. Well, it's creeping up to 200, and yeah, gonna have to save my pennies from that one. So I'm gonna start with this thing. It's been a while since I worked in styrene. I had an original Bruiser way back in the 80s. Blew the drive lines out of it and then shelved it. It was a shelf queen for a number of years, and then I took it out when the crawling thing first started. Basically took it out of mothballs and glued an associated transmission in it, and ran the axles and everything, and had a lot of fun with that. But the original Toyota body I hung on to and ran it on the SCX-10, and that was cool. That was fun. But the problem is, by that time the styrene was about 20 years old, and it didn't hold up very well. So lesson learned. So yeah, I'm hoping this will hold up. The body's nice. It's gray styrene. I don't know why they painted it white on a box. I think there's nothing more milquetoast than having a white truck, even though I drive a white truck. But but there are some upsides to white trucks. I have to say that. Yeah. So anyway, that's about it. I guess this is an unboxing, maybe, kind of, sort of. I'll get to building it. I'm not dealing with these plastic bumpers. I'm even debating on these for now. I might throw them on there just for kicks, just to start with. The side rails, rock sliders. I imagine they slide pretty well. They're plastic. And then it's the usual. Bumpers are all plastic. It's like and then this monstrosity, which I don't know why they put it on a box. I don't know why you put a bumper over a bumper. Stuff like that drives me nuts. So I'm probably not gonna. I'm gonna bail out on this one. But I think you can get a steel bumper now for about $40. They're not that horrible. And yeah, and then we'll play with it and weather the crap out of it, and maybe build an interior and go from there. So anyway, that's it, guys. Just a little update on what's been happening. And that's it. I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll catch up with you later.